Hello, I would like in this video to talk about push buttons and breadboards. Relatively straightforward topic, but the goal for me here is not really to explain how push buttons work, but rather to address the status quo, the way we use these buttons every day with breadboards. I did a basic search on YouTube for buttons and breadboards and looked through the videos available there, and most tutorials out there use buttons one way. Essentially, the way these buttons are connected, they're placed in the middle of the breadboard, like this, and then the rest is connected to this. So if we were to build a very simple circuit, just a battery, LED, button, and a resistor, let's have a look how this typical approach looks like. I have a power source here. All it does is provides power to those two rails, 3.3 volts and ground, and we will use this button to close the circuit to light up the LED. We need an LED and a current limiting resistor. That's about it. Once you hook up the power and we press the button, the LED lights up. Nothing really to this. The issue I wish to address here is the placement of that button. In most cases, that's how people use them, in the middle of the breadboard. I suppose it works in many cases, but it's not necessarily optimal. This little button here takes up a lot of real estate on the breadboard. All my components are on this side, but then the button also here is connected to a couple of rows here that makes them unusable. What I would like to propose is to move the button down a little bit, so it's not going across the middle of the breadboard. It will work the same way. So if we hook it up like this, it still works, it still lights up. But the gain I get is, at least I don't take up the rows here that frees up this portion of the breadboard. At the end of the day, the space on the breadboard is limited. By moving it this way, I don't waste that space here. However, I still don't like this in terms of general placement. It's not practical to have a button in the middle of the breadboard. If I wish to press the button, I kind of have to go with my finger and find my way through this, through the other components, especially if they're tall. If this is all surrounded, it doesn't make sense for me to put the button in the middle, whether it's straight in the middle or closer to the edge. Ideally, the button or any button should be at the edge of the breadboards, and I don't see many tutorials that actually do that, so I would like to show you a way to get that accomplished. This is particularly useful with the larger variety of these buttons, something like this, because these cannot be really moved the way the small button is now placed. They don't fit. Let me show you. If we look at those legs, they're just too wide. They don't really fit anymore. What I want to do is, I actually want to place the button like this. But this will not work without modification the way the button is designed. These pins here are connected in pairs, so essentially this pin and this pin, they're joined together right now the way this pin and this pin is joined together right now. So if I press the button, they all get bridged. So if I connected it like this, let's say to the ground on this side, what this does is, this is all connected right now, all together. The button wouldn't have an effect. For that to work, you need to remove one of the pins. I'll just bend them back and forth to make it a three-legged button. You really need two. We always do them on the diagonal. I'll leave the third one for stability, just so it sticks better to the breadboard. The key is the single one here. It will go either to the ground or to the power rail here. Like this. There's only one pin on this side, and you can connect it either to the ground, to the blue rail, or to the red, to the 3 volts in this case. It doesn't matter, you can move it up or down. The other side here would be on the diagonal from this pin right here. So if I can take the LED now, connect it like this and add the resistor. This works just fine. What I like about this method is that the button is at the edge of the breadboard, right here. And you can have multiple buttons here lined up all together, sort of like a keyboard. And if you wish to access them, you press them from this and you never touch any of the other components in the middle. To me, it makes a lot more sense. And the only change required here is to remove one of these pins. So I hope you like this hack, and this will help you clean up your breadboards a little bit. That's what I use in my project. Thanks for watching.